The other day, I saw a cartoon clip that just reminded me of Jehovah's Witnesses history. It was a little duck just walking along when a wolf spotted him. And the duck ran for safety as the wolf chased, and he happened to get into a fortress that the wolf could not penetrate. So this upset the wolf, so he took a brick or something and threw it over the top and just happened to hit the duck right in the head with this brick. Well, the duck was so upset, he thought the sky is falling. So he went to his friends and said, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. And they laughed at first, but then eventually they believed him, and they all ran in a panic. The sky is falling, the sky is falling. Well, the wolf shouted, hey, you better go to the king. So they believed him, and they said, let's go to the king. So they all ran together, and the king just happened to be the wolf dressed up as the king. And they ran to him for help, and they said, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. And the king says, oh yes, let me help you with that. Run in here and you'll be safe. And he led them right into a furnace. And once they ran in, he shut the door and said, ah ha ha, you fools. Well, this reminds me of Jehovah's Witness history. For those who don't know, they have a long history of being told the sky is falling. The Watchtower has told them many times over the last 100 years that the world will end. And they better run to the king. They better run to Jehovah to keep them safe. But little do they know, the Jehovah's Witnesses, that doctrine will be leading them right into a furnace they don't want to go. And this just so reminded me of Jehovah's Witnesses history, so I just thought I'd share some today. And it all started in 1889 with Charles Taze Russell, the original founder of the Jehovah's Witnesses. He wrote a book entitled The Time is at Hand. In it, he made predictions for the end of the world. Within the coming 26 years, all present governments will be overthrown and dissolved. But we are living in a special and peculiar time, the day of Jehovah. We consider it an established truth that the final end of the kingdoms of this world and the full establishment of the kingdom of God will be accomplished at the end of AD 1914. 1 year later, the Watchtower magazine backed up Russell's book in October 1890. It says, the millennium of peace and blessing will be introduced by 40 years of trouble, beginning slightly in 1874. And increasing until social chaos should prevail in 1914. To give a brief backdrop of this history, Jehovah's Witnesses teach that after Jesus died, Jehovah recreated him and caused him to appear to his disciples and many other people until
Jesus returned to his Father in heaven, where once again he became Michael the Archangel. He will never again be seen on the earth in visible form, but instead rules invisibly from the heavens. When he executes judgment over the world at Armageddon, he will destroy all but the faithful Jehovah's Witnesses.
In July 15th, 1894, the Watchtower made it clear that this was not their idea, but the date for the end of the world came directly from Jehovah. We see no reason for changing the figures, nor could we change them if we would. They are, we believe, God's dates, not ours. But bear in mind that the end of 1914 is not the date of the beginning, but for the end of the time of trouble. Well, 1914 came and went without incident. This forced the Watchtower to push back Jehovah's timeline one more year. Again, nothing happened, so the Watchtower forced Jehovah back 3 more years. And again, Jehovah refused to act. This is when the Watchtower's second president, Judge Rutherford, started predicting the end of the world. He wrote a book called Millions Now Living Will Never Die. In it, he claimed that millions of Jehovah's Witnesses will never see death because the end of the world will come before they are able to die. The Watchtower distributed a bulletin from October 1st, 1920, in order to promote the end of the world in 1925. It was a help guide to assist Jehovah's Witnesses to introduce this topic to others. It gave them word for word what to say. Good morning. Do you know that millions now living will never die? I mean just what I say, that millions now living are never going to die. If you can keep alive until 1925, you have excellent chances of being one of them. It is an absolute fact stated in every book of the Bible, foretold by every prophet of the Bible. If these things aren't bizarre enough, Rutherford went on to say, there will be a resurrection of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and other faithful ones of old. And we may expect in 1925 to witness the return of these faithful men of Israel from the condition of death, being resurrected and fully restored to perfect humanity and made the visible legal representatives of the new order of things on earth. Therefore, we may confidently expect that 1925 will mark the return of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and the faithful prophets of old. In expectation of these ancient worthies, Rutherford had an immaculate mansion built so they would have a place to live when they come back to life. The Watchtower reinforced all of these things in July 15th, 1924. It says, the year 1925 is a date definitely and clearly marked in the Scriptures, even more clearly than that of 1914. As you can expect, the ancient worthies did not come in April 1st, 1925, nor did the world end that year. But not all was lost. At least the mansion did not go to waste. Judge Rutherford himself was there to conveniently take possession of it. So, life went on for the disappointed Jehovah's Witnesses. But a few years later, the Watchtower was up to their old tricks again, making a few more prophecies here and there. The biggest of these, 1975. According to a more recent calculation of Bible timetable, 6,000 years of man's existence will end in the latter half of 1975, which is well within the century. The Bible millennium is ahead of us, and according to the count of time and the events of the world history, it is approaching. Fear-mongering was again their favorite promotion method. In their October 8, 1968 publication of the Awake magazine, Is It Later Than You Think?, the Watchtower explained how man's existence was destined to only last 6,000 years and the dramatic end would take place in 1975. To support their prophecies, the Watchtower took quotes from well-known secular sources, including former U.S. Secretary of State, who said in 1960, I know enough what is going on to assure you that in 15 years from today, or by 1975, this world is going to be too dangerous to live in. Other fear-mongering quotes include, one of the greatest problems beyond man's solving is the coming food shortage due to the population explosion. In the book Famine, 1975, food experts W. and P. Paddock state, by 1975, a disaster of unprecedented magnitude will face the world. Famines greater than any in history will ravage the undeveloped nations. I forecast a specific date, 1975, when the new crisis will be upon us all in its awesome importance. By 1975, civil disorder, anarchy, military dictatorships, runaway inflation, transportation breakdowns, and chaotic unrest will be the order of the day in many of the hungry nations. These tactics were highly effective, enabling the Watchtower to see above-average growth in 1974 and 1975. Jehovah's Witnesses were so convinced by these end times prophecies that many quit their jobs and sold their homes. Farmers refused to plant so they could spend more time sharing Jehovah's message before the end of the world. At the end of the day, the Watchtower stirred Jehovah's Witnesses with false end times prophecies in 1914, 1915, 1918, 1925, 1975. Each time they compelled the people, work a little harder, give a little more. The end is just around the corner. They all proved to be false prophecies. You know, this is just a small sampling of all that's out there. By no means is this an exhaustive list of the end times prophecies. We could probably talk for hours about these things, to be honest with you. But if you have any good ones, ones that I haven't shared here, please add them below. I'd love to see them myself, and I'm sure others watching this would just like to see the collection of all the end times prophecies the Jehovah's Witnesses have said over the years. But at the end of the day, after seeing all this information, I had to ask myself, why would I want to be part of an organization like this? And to all the Jehovah's Witnesses watching this video, I'd ask you, why would you want to be part of an organization like this?